It is finally starting to get chilly here in the city of Chicago, which for the first week and a half of October didn't seem like was going to happen because we had a bad case of Indian summer. Now, when I say bad case, I am strictly referring to my experience living up towards the top of an apartment building that decided to turn the heat on October 5th, meaning I woke up every single night sweating my cheeks off. Now, of course, whenever I left in the morning to go work, and then whenever I did my workouts in the mid-morning, late morning, it was fantastic. But alas, that Indian summer weather is gone. It has left, and the crisp fall air has arrived. A fall air that is quickly becoming icier and icier. Now, a lot of people are lamenting this change of seasons. People here in Chicago really enjoy their summer. Summertime shy. It is the season to be here in the city. And I've gauged, speaking with a ton of locals and people who have moved here from other states, Wisconsin, Indiana, all over the United States, and even from other countries. People who have been here for 3, 5, 7, 10 years. Essentially natives at this point. People who can call themselves quasi-natives. They have told me that the city shuts down in November, December, January, February. Chicago becomes a very grim place because nobody wants to do anything. It's too cold. It's too frigid. The energy gets sapped out of this city. And for me, I love this because while everyone else is lamenting this change of seasons, this change from summertime shy, where all the boats are on the lake, where people are walking around downtown all the time, going to places. They're in Bucktown, they're in West Loop, they're going to the bars, they're going to the clubs, they're getting active at nights, they're having drinks at 3, 4 in the afternoon, they're going on boats on the river, they're taking helicopters in the sky to look at the city, to get a tour of it. They're doing all of the things that you do here in the city, many, many, many more that I didn't name. While everyone is lamenting that is quote unquote gone, I'm quite happy for it because not only do I love the fall, but I love the winter for the simple fact that the wintertime provides you and I the perfect vehicle to reassess. The wintertime is necessary. And if I were someone to have grown up on the island of Hawaii, per se, or anywhere on planet Earth where it is a 2-season affair, where you have a dry season and a wet season, but overall you don't have a winter such as I grew up with in Pittsburgh. I remember 2012, we had 28 inches of snow overnight, and me and my dad spent a day and a half shoveling the driveway because of how high it was and because of the fact that I was still a relatively small child. If I would have grown up in an area or on a continent, a place where I wouldn't have had the experience of having a winter and a spring and a summer and a fall, 4 seasons, I don't know how I would be a different person, because for me, the winter is absolutely essential. I believe every person can benefit from a season of reflection, of reassessment. And when it gets cold out, it makes that season very clear. It makes it very obvious that this is the time for that to happen. And it's very easy to get into a rhythm where you speed up as you're coming out of winter, you gain more momentum as the spring opens, as it begins to unfold, and then that momentum continues to accelerate into early summer, and then it peaks a little after midsummer. And then you begin to coast off very gradually, but then at a more accelerated pace into the fall. And then once you get to winter, you really slow down. And then you do it again and again and again. You get into this rhythm. And this rhythm looks like that acceleration of energy, that acceleration of extroversion, that acceleration of movement. You're going places, you're seeing people, you're making connections, you're networking, perhaps you're traveling. that energy, that natural rhythm of wanting to do all of that is higher. Instead of going home after work and turning on Netflix or turning on the PlayStation like I did last night playing Battlefield 6, you actually go out and you go to an event, you go to a cocktail bar, you get drinks with friends, perhaps you go and watch the game at somebody else's house, or you go bowling, you go get dinner, you walk around the city, you walk by the lake, you do something active. You don't immediately shut yourself in. There's a natural rhythm to this. Now, of course, people in places where it's only 2 seasons, they probably have their own rhythms. They may have seasons within those seasons that I'm not aware of, being an ignorant American from Western Pennsylvania. If you're one of those people, comment what those rhythms are like, if you're aware of them. If you're not, figure it out, because I'd like to know. But in any case, as a lot of people are lamenting this change of seasons, I'm happy for it, because the summertime can't go on forever. This period of extroversion and excitement and ecstasy cannot last. It must die down. There must be a period of reflection, because unless you reflect on who you were during the summer, unless during the off season, quote unquote, you reflect on how you played, what you need to improve upon, where the team was lacking, what you need to shore up. Unless you reflect on this, you're not going to come back in the spring and summer as a better individual. The wintertime is a perfect opportunity to reconnect with family, to reconnect with your roots over the holidays. If you're not currently living in your hometown, go back if you can afford it. If it's convenient, perhaps if it's even not convenient, go back. If it's within your budget, even if it's for a day or two, reconnect for that tiny bit of time. See an old friend, see an old acquaintance, walk a street that you're familiar with, that you haven't strode down in weeks, months, years, perhaps even a decade plus. Reconnect with that. The winter gives you a great opportunity to do all this. And if you use it properly, you're going to come out of it as a much wiser person. And I can tell you that as someone who's going to be 27 very soon, in fact, in a week, I remember years ago when, as summer approached, moreover, when spring opened and then unfolded, going towards summer, I had this ecstasy, I had this excitement, and I allowed myself to get caught up in it. I allowed myself to be consumed by this ecstasy and this excitement. I didn't know how to channel it properly. I didn't have the context and the wisdom to use it in the right way, to live summer in not a conservative manner, but in a pragmatic manner. Pragmatically impractical, pragmatically irrational. That doesn't make sense unless it makes sense to you. I didn't know how to do that, but now I have a much better gauge on it, because every passing winter makes you wiser if you use it properly, if you do the work to write down what you need to improve upon, where you were lacking emotionally, spiritually, physically, where your relationships were failing, the events and circumstances where you really failed to show up as you needed to. All of this is powerful. And I know that I've been reflecting on those things already. I'm excited to dive into those even deeper this winter to provide great content for you on it, because that's what I want to do on this channel, is simply create this living documentary, but rather a living journal where it's me making entries every day or every other day, where I get in front of the camera and I simply tell you what I'm going through and what insights I'm coming to, so that you can better understand the world by reflecting on what I say and taking it, leaving it, taking some of it, taking some things that I didn't even say, perhaps, and then running with that, and then coming back to it, and then reflecting on what another person said or what you read in a book, and then making these connections and drawing all these lines and creating all of these symbols and structures for yourself that you can then tear down and recreate over and over and over again. So with that, I say, God bless, have a great night. Utilize this winter. Do not lament this change of seasons. Yes, if you have to mourn it, fair enough, because religiously the architecture is there. You mourn the sun setting. Christianity, you mourn Jesus dying on the cross for your sins. And that's really what he's doing in this season, is he's going away. But then he comes back. He comes back. He's born, and then he comes back to us in the spring and the summer. And that's when the plants grow and everything's wonderful. But of course, there's a lot of symbolism there. In any case, I'll stop rambling. I'll see you in the next video. Much love. Peace. This is New Da Vinci. Have a blessed night.